Hey everybody, Johnny Good here. Hello and good afternoon greetings from Maryland, somewhere near Laurel, Maryland. Anyway, somebody requested this video and I've been putting it off for quite a while now, so I give up, I surrender, I finally gonna do it. The topic today would be I left WEL somewhere around January, so probably January 10, I think. Anyway, I arrived in 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. I arrived at ADL on January 15. 4 years ago exactly. So anyway, for those of you who don't know the backstrap story, I used to work for WEL. Let's begin this whole thing. I started driving back in 1991. I went to truck driving school over there by Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, somewhere around 90, 91. I remember it was winter time because there were a couple of blizzard cancellation schools, and I think I also remember going home for Christmas, and at that time it was a 3-week course. So I started there, and then I went to school there. The first company that I worked for was CRST, but the first company I applied for was it's a Wisconsin-based company. I think they're still around. I can't remember the name anymore, but they rejected me because I didn't. Prior to 91, I had no work history. I came from the Philippines. I migrated here 1990 or 91, something like that. Probably 90. And so I migrated here, went to truck driving school, applied for truck driving school, and this particular trucking school in Wisconsin did not take me, and I was very surprised. And it was explained to me that it was the lack of work history. Who knows? I don't know. But to make the story short, I ended up driving for CRST out of Cedar Rapids, Wisconsin. But the office that I was assigned to was out of Schererville, Indiana. And I think the terminal manager was Gene Smith. I don't know why I can't forget that name. So I started there, and it was a cab over. You were a big shot if you were assigned to a truck, a cab over truck. It was an International Eagle. Oh, they were the cream of the crops. What do we newbies knew anything about trucks? But no cruise control. They did. No, they didn't have cruise control. No, they did have that cruise control. The model prior to the Eagle didn't have any cruise control. That's why we had that idle control stick that we would push the accelerator pedal all the way down to the floor, and it had this kind of a gizmo thing that you cropped up against the dash, and that was your cruise control. It was top speed was 55 miles an hour. Cab over, big old doghouse over here, and you had to crawl all the way to the back. no double bunk. And there were times where you had to sleep next to your co-driver, and usually you had to sleep on each other, opposite side of each other's feet. So you fell asleep smelling each other's feet. That was your that kind of put you to sleep. It rarely happened though. I mean, one thing about CRST back then was you go out, first of all, you go to CRST, you find a trainer, and then a trainer trains you and do all the student stuff, and then you drive cross country. I mean, at that time you were not a trainer, you were a co-driver. Sometimes the lead driver would sit up here and kind of teach you a little bit, watch how you progress and all that stuff. But we did cross country from Cucamonga, California, to up here to Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Back and forth as fast as we could do it. And there was no time for messing around. There was, gotta go. And that went on for a while. But sometimes we find ourselves with no load on a weekend, and that's when you had to sleep next to your co-driver or your lead driver. And, nobody can complain you got stinky feet, because, well, you both had stinky feet. My trainer's name was Gerald Potts. He was out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And man, oh man, I tell you, that guy smoked like a chimney. Woo-wee! The whole dash was just full of ash. Truck stunk like a cigarette. And at that time, I already quit smoking, and I put up with it, well, what are you gonna do? Then I don't know how long he trained me for that, but I graduated from student status to co-driver status, and my first co-driver was Pedro Moragon. He was out of Mallorca, Spain. Anyway, all said and done, I worked for CRST for about 8 months. And at that time, I thought it was the worst job ever. I cried my eyes out. I said, Lord, take me out of this thing. I don't want to be here anymore. I thought it was... I find it very hard to sleep. It was very lonely. I made a lot of money though. I mean, I remember making a lot of money. I would have like $400 paycheck. At that time, they paid you per the trip, and usually it would take 3 days? Yeah, about three and a half days, I think. From here to LA with a co-driver, that wasn't too bad. So they paid you for the trip, for the load. And sometimes we get 2 to 3 loads in a week. So, and at that time also I did, I thought that was my first job, so I thought $300 here, $400 there. Let's see, they paid 23 cents a mile. Imagine that, 23 cents a mile. I can't imagine. It's hard to imagine, right? 23 cents a mile. But yeah. So anyway, I graduated out of CRST. I couldn't handle it no more. And at that time, my dad was still alive, and as many of you know, my dad was pretty darn wealthy. He was a multi-millionaire, but he was one of those guys that he didn't act like a millionaire. He would have me go dumpster diving for a jacket. First time I arrived in the United States. Yeah, there are people going to the mall getting jackets and boots. My dad says, jump. Yeah, we were at the back of the mall, dumpster diving, getting all, junk clothes. And that was my first winter gear. That was crazy. So I after 8 months, I went home, mooched with my dad, stayed home for another 8 months, and geesh, I don't know how many companies I have worked after that. There's Wamco, there's Ligon Landstar, All American Transport, Shell Bell. Gosh. Yeah. Finally, I worked for a while, and I was there for about 12, 13 years, I think. Both company driver, owner, operator, back to company driver. And at that time, 4 years ago, I was doing a dedicated run between Wisconsin to Commerce City, I think it is. City of Commerce, California, which is somewhere around LA. And that was my route back and forth. And I started YouTube then, and I was kind of growing. I wasn't really making any money with YouTube at that time, but it was growing. And anyway, fast forward about 4.5 years ago, 5 years, ADL calls me up and says, hey, I kind of like the way you drive. How about you come and drive for me? And I thought, no, I already got a job, and I thought I was doing dedicated California and back and forth to Wisconsin and all that stuff. So I said, no. And I think at that time I was making $40 a month on YouTube, but it was growing. And one day WEL says, sorry, no more YouTube videos. You can't do YouTube in your truck. If you want to do YouTube, you have to be out of the truck. I said, seriously, really? And so I tried it for about a week, no YouTube. And I think that time I was doing it about eight months to a year. And I was putting out 10 videos a day. Holy smokies. I was obsessed with YouTube, I was so eager to share and take videos, and I had so much materials and topics and life stories, and that was my day in, day out. I was so entertained. I had people to talk to, people to connect, and yeah, finally WEL says no more videos. And for a week I didn't do any videos, and oh man, I felt like somebody cut my arms off, or something cut, something part of me was just cut off. It was like, oh, this is so different, so boring. You drive all day long, all the way from Wisconsin to California and back, and something part of me was just missing. And if I have to go back a little bit, working for WEL was was a really good experience. I mean, I was there for 13 years, I think. Even, maybe, yeah, 12, 13 years, something around there. And I thought they were the really nicest people to work with. The owners, Randy and Bruce, they themselves were truck drivers, and they weren't afraid to take drivers out for breakfast, and they relate. Sometimes if the company was short of truck drivers, they'd hop into the truck and deliver the load themselves. And the people there were just very nice. I remember Lorraine, the breakdowns, Wayne, Wayne at the shop, warehouse, dispatchers, payroll, like Janice. Oh, she was nice. She was really so cool. Safety, I got along with Rose and some other people, and they treated you really a family. They were a very good family-oriented company, and their equipment, I thought they had the best shop in all the company that I've worked for. I thought their shop repair system, their maintenance, they really got serious in fixing their trucks. And at that time I was driving first I had the White Beast, which is a Columbia Freightliner Columbia. You know, the kind that had the rusty bumper at the front. They were all rusty like that. I don't know why. And then they gave me a KW T680, and at that time that was the best truck that I have ever driven, hands down. I loved that truck, and it had a red Cummins in it, and it was an auto shift. The White Beast was a semi-automatic. It was an auto shift, but it still had a clutch. In order for you to put it in gear, you had to depress the clutch, and then once you got it in first gear, then it's a go. And then if you wanted to stop, you had to press the clutch, and if you wanted to put it on reverse, put it on, press the clutch. And if you came to like a dock, that was a very nice feature though, compared to the automatics, because the auto shift at that time did not have the crawl system. You had to really goose it to keep the truck backing up, and chances are you're always over gunning the truck. And I can't tell you how many times I banged up against the dock, and reversing that truck was just really dangerous, So you had to play with the accelerator pedal on your right foot, and on the left foot you had to play with the brakes. So you go like this, so that way you don't end up backing into somebody or something really hard. At that time I was making somewhere around 48 cents a mile with the fuel bonus. Although I was only governed at 60 miles an hour, I choose to be on 60 miles an hour, because if you, at that time they had a 4 cents a mile fuel bonus if you had your truck turned down to 60 miles an hour. And I was making pretty good money back then. And as I said, the people at Well, they were just so nice. But I kind of had a little bit of a glimpse to what YouTube was going to be, and even then, even it wasn't really about the YouTube money, but the blogging part, activity, the companionship with my subscribers was really difficult to leave it. I mean, it was just. They said I don't think I could have. I think there was a time where they said I could video it, but I wasn't allowed to talk to the camera. And I thought, what was the point? And so that went on for a while, right? And then before that incident happened, as I said earlier, ADL called me during a trip going to California and offered me a job, and I said, no, I really got it made here, man. I'm making pretty good money. I've already got a 2-week vacation every year, you know, set up, and I said, no, thank you, I'm good. And then that happened. Their decision happened. That I think I don't blame them, because, as you know, being a YouTuber and a truck driver YouTuber, people just call all over the place. They will call the boss or WDL with all kinds of stupid comments and report your drivers not taking a shower, driver past a stop sign, or driving recklessly, or, you know, they were just making up stuff. And some of them were people they meant good. They tried to call, and good comments and all that stuff, but they were having 20, 30 calls in a day. I mean, it was almost like a full-time job answering the phone. And they kind of got annoyed with that. And so they said, we can't handle this. So they put a stop to it. And then, so a week later, I think it was, ADL called. Then I made that announcement that look for on YouTube, type in JBG Travels / so it ends, that video. Watch that video and I'll explain better what happened. And I guess ADL boss man over here saw it, calls me back and says, how about now? I said, okay. So I put in my 1 week notice. Actually, I said, do I need to put in a 2-week notice here? Said, no, not really. And so I said, okay, bring me home. And that's when I started with ADL. And ADL, what he did for me was he matched my 2-week paid vacation. He matched my pay. He had me run around he had me home on weekends at that time. That time I was hauling cheese and chicken back to Wisconsin. What else? It worked out really well. I liked it. But here's the catch, though. Over here with Well, I was working as a company driver, so I had a W-2, and you know, having a dedicated run between Wisconsin to LA, you'd have a good week that week, and then you'll have a terrible week next week. So it was, you know, it was like $1,200 this week, $400 next week, and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, come on, this is, you know. And as I said, I was working as a W-2 on the tax, And when I came over here, I was working as a owner-operator status. Even though the truck is not mine, the trailer is not mine, I was filing taxes as a 1099. I was leasing my services as an independent contractor or self-employed. Even though, as I said, the truck and trailer was not mine, but I filed taxes every quarter. So here at ADL, there was no deduction. He gave me, what was it at that time? Yeah, he gave me $1,300 every week, regardless of how much I drove, or how less I drove, or how much I drove. Every week it was $1,300. Actually, I take that back. Minimum was $1,300. But if that week was really good, I've seen my paycheck go up as high as $1,800, I think it was. But the beauty is sometimes there's no freight. For example, if the truck only made $1,000 that week, the boss would reach in his pocket and pay up that $300. He called it an upcharge to maintain that $1,300 minimum. So regardless of how low the truck made, as long as I did everything that he asked me to do and not turn down loads, I earned $1,300 minimum. As I said, it wasn't all that consistent. It wasn't that every week that I made $1,800, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if I was making $1,800 twice a month or once a month, you know. So, and I can honestly say, looking back now, for how long have I been here now? 4 years. It has been the best trucking experience that I've, both financially. Boy, when I was with talking about the saying, you know, working paycheck to paycheck, it was an understatement, and it was my wife and I working, and it was hard. I don't know how she did it. I really don't. We were struggling, but by the grace of God, man, He kept us all well, and we made it. And but when I moved over here at ADL, then I don't know. I really honestly can say that the grass has been greener. Right? That I can honestly say that without a doubt. The grass has been greener since I worked for ADL. But that's where you guys come in too. You know, you guys have been so loyal, and so you guys were just a big part of all this. And all I can say is thank you so much. That you guys have been so supportive. It's incredible. And I know there's so much beautiful channels out there, better channels, gifted people, but somehow you guys keep coming back. And the only thing that I've been struggling with lately, and I know I don't have to hide it, is going around from Wisconsin to Texas to Virginia, Pennsylvania, and back and around and around and around. As a truck driver, I don't mind. I love the route. I go to the same places. I don't get bored going around the same route. But for the video's sake, that's when I get into the, that's when I get that's when I get really depressed, is because of you guys. You know, I sometimes wish that I drove all 48 states so I could have better content, better views, and different places to go. And but man, trucking is tough, especially right now. It's tough right now. And I'll be honest with you, I sometimes even get tempted to the idea of jumping off ship and looking for a company out there that drives all 48 states. But again, not all companies out there are willing to put up with truck driver YouTubers. It's as an employer, it's not an easy thing to hire a truck driver YouTuber. We come with a lot of baggage because some of you out there are pretty zealous, not jealous, zealous. You guys see things that are a little bit of an injustice, or I don't know, for some reason, some people just seem to make it easy to call the boss, and mostly a lot of trolls. A lot of trolls calls the boss and make up stories and try to get me or Larry fired, or even Eric, you know. The many crickets, the hate out there on YouTube. Please understand, we're just regular truck drivers trying to make a living. We're nobody different. We're not, you know, we're not special. We're just trying to make a living and support our family. It's just as simple as that. But the hate sometimes, oh man, sometimes the hate is unbearable. And that's why I always encourage my wife to do her own cooking channel, and she can't handle the negativity and the trolls. And she just rather not do it. And it breaks my heart, because I know that if she did, a lot of you out there would watch her channel. You guys have expressed that to me so many times over the years, and I believe it. My wife is an excellent cook. I really believe that she could have a very successful channel, but she's the kind of person that she gets easily hurt on the comments, and there's no amount of money for her to do that and be insulted, belittled, be trolled. So, and I know you guys know this. Internet is just so. Internet today is like the CB back in the 80s, where we used to we call people CB Rambos, because they would just run their mouth of things that they would normally not say in front of somebody, just because they're behind the radio, the microphone. They just have no sense of decency. They've got no brakes on their mouth, and they think they can talk tough and, you know, trash people. Same thing in the internet. It's for the good and bad of the internet. Those are, you know, the bad parts. So But it all really just comes down to a 4-year review of my trucking experience. And as I said, without a doubt, it has been a very profitable and blessed experience that for this past 4 years. And first of all, let me say this without any hesitation, without any confusion. I owe it all by the grace of God. I mean, it just no doubt about that. I'm not the kind of person, as you guys know, I'm not the smartest egg in the not smartest egg basket. Sometimes I marvel when I'm able to drive from Texas to Maryland without a hitch. I'm not that kind of person. On my own, I can't do that. So I have to give glory to and thanks to where it, where it deserves, and I that's all by the grace of the Lord. It's crazy. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. Today is August 1st, which is Saturday, and God willing, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, thank you, and please forgive me that the videos has been so, as one of you said it, it's mediocre and boring and repetitive. What can I do, Not much to do. And the run between Texas and Pennsylvania, not a whole lot of room for walking videos and truck stop hopping, and it just drive. It's crazy. So again, thank you for your loyalty, your support, and thank you for your kindness most of all. Have a blessed day, and God bless you guys. Remember, today is the day that the Lord has made. This is also the day of salvation. Let me tell you a little bit of a story, kind of an analogy here. A young man received a letter from a law firm that says, congratulations, or it says, we need you to come into the law firm because your uncle died and he has a considerable will that we need to discuss. So the young man opens it and says, I'll just do it later. For the meantime, he's running around, doing his own thing. And the law firm keeps calling and says, you really should come in and so we could discuss this, your uncle's estate. She says, yeah, that's not really. He says, really need to come in because you'll be really happy. He left you something really big. He says, no, I'll do it when I get time. I'm not ready. Are we all kind of doing that? We're putting off the best life for something mediocre. I don't know. Why not come to God and live the life that God meant you to live? Be free, be happy. There's a big difference between happy and happy is like the happiness of the moment. Have joy when you belong to God and Jesus Christ. You have joy in your life. I guess that's the big difference right there. You live outside of God's time or God's love and family. Yeah, You'll be happy for a moment, but when you belong to Christ, you'll have joy in your life, meaning, and just peace.